Hello, and welcome back to Couch Model Conversations from the Couch. I am Maya Brenner, and I'm joined here with Couch Model Eric the Trainer. I am very excited today. Conversations from the Couch started because I was looking for a hobby to kind of bring me back to a completed version of myself, and I believe I'm going to say that your Couch Model, your creative outlet, is your practice of training,
yes,
fitness, and what can make you more whole than these endorphins?
I totally agree. Well, the notion of helping people who are dissatisfied with their bodies, with their health, helping them achieve a level of normality and then beyond where they feel incredible, physically relevant, or sleeker than ever, it makes me feel happy.
Yeah. How long have you been doing personal training, and also how long have you been doing fitness?
I've been involved in fitness to a certain extent for over 30 years, but I've been a trainer for nearly 30 years. And
wow.
In that time, I've really gone from being a novice to an expert, but also I've gone from enjoying the process to loving the process.
And before training, what were you studying, or what were you doing?
I have an English degree from college.
Wow.
And so I was a writer, and I was pre-law at a certain point. But then I had an internship in New Haven, Connecticut with the state attorney's office, and it was during that internship where I was spending time with lawyers that I realized how miserable they were as a group. And then it turns out that, of course, they have the highest alcoholism, they have the highest divorce rate, and I realized I didn't want to be a lawyer. I was pre-law all the way. I was the captain of the debate team. It was a big deal. So I got in my car, which was an old Saab Turbo that would break down all the time, and I drove from New Haven, Connecticut, all the way back to the farm in Maine where I grew up. I got there at like 2 a.m, woke my parents up, and said, I have to tell you something. And I think they thought I was going to say that I got a girl pregnant, or that I wanted to make out with men and not women. But actually, I just told them I don't want to be a lawyer. And they said, oh, phew, that's not such a bad thing. Go to sleep and we'll talk about it in the morning. So after college, I moved to New York City, and it was only my intention to get a job and enjoy that sort of lifestyle, living in New York. And I stumbled upon being a trainer, and it just turned out to be the best career ever.
When did you move to Los Angeles?
I moved to Los Angeles in 1993-ish, 93, 94, but then I was bi-coastal for quite a while. And it wasn't until 1997 that I released my clientele in Manhattan and made Los Angeles my home.
Okay. And I've known you for a while. We'll get into that in a little bit. We reconnected, I would say maybe 8 years ago at the restaurant at Hugo's.
What she's not telling you is I knew her when she was a girl, a young girl. And I always wondered what happened to that great young girl. And then one day I was at Hugo's, and I saw this beautiful woman who kind of looked like the girl I used to know. And it was her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had become a celebrity trainer, and you were traveling all over the world. You, I mean, you're literally never not traveling. You were just on tour with Def Leppard,
yep.
and you were in Egypt at one point. You were right. I mean, like
we travel a lot. You know, the message of health and fitness and looking and feeling your best is an important one that applies to all people throughout the world. And the truth is, Hollywood fitness travels very effectively. So we've been to China and the Middle East. We've been to Japan. We've been all over Europe. We travel a lot, but we're on a mission to change the world. So if you want to change the world, you have to go out into the world and change it. And that's what we're doing.
How did you said to me just a few weeks ago, you got to a point where you really liked your job, and then it took you about 5 more years to get to a point where you loved your job.
Right.
Do you know how that trajectory really happened? Can you describe it?
Well, I think that there's a big difference between having a certain skill set as a trainer and working in the gym and witnessing big transformations, which it's very gratifying to see someone go from normal to extraordinary. And there's a difference between that and being able to do that with an actor or a rock star or a celebrity chef where your work is suddenly blasted out throughout the world. And so I realized that if my mission was to try to positively connect and influence a huge group of people, that working with actors and musicians that are popular was a much more effective way. And so instead of having a dentist who's kind of out of shape go through a transformation and then his patients are like, hey doc, you're looking better, my tooth hurts, it's much more exciting to see an actor who has to go through a huge transformation to play a movie role and know that your work will always live on screen. And so I realized that I was able to touch more people in a positive way, and that's my mission. That's what I'm looking to do. It's a mission that's much bigger than just myself. And so I wake up every day with that in mind. What can I do today to help others become incredible and to inspire them to smile? Because the world can be a crazy place.
Yeah. My next question for you is, do you think you found fulfillment?
Yes, I do believe I found fulfillment. And one of the ways you can tell whether you're fulfilled or not is if you feel like when you go to work, if it's work. They say if you make your passion your work, you'll never work a day in your life. There's a lot of truth to that. And so when I'm here in the mornings, many times very early in the morning, I don't feel like I'm oppressed or inconvenienced. I'm really happy to be here. And I'm filled with energy and trying to do the best I can. And besides getting paid well for it, there's a huge feeling of giving back to others that I feel on a daily basis. And I also judge fulfillment on, at the end of the day, as you're going to sleep, do you easily fall into sleep, or do you sort of fight it? Is it hard to sleep? I sleep so well, partially because I'm tired from working all day, but partially because I knew I gave my best during the day. I tried to help other people, so there aren't bad things on my mind of regrets or things I wish I could have done. I feel like I'm contributing to society, and I feel really lucky to do what I love. I also feel lucky to live in Los Angeles. I grew up on a farm in Maine. It was cold. There was a lot of snow, and it's nice to wake up in the morning and not shiver, and not see my breath in my bedroom. Mom and Dad, I could see my breath in my bedroom when I was growing up. So it's nice to wake up in a beautiful place and be around people that are artists and doing really cool things.
Do you have anxiety now, even with this success?
You know, I don't have anxiety that's work related. The only anxiety that I feel is tied directly to family members. If any of my brothers or sisters are in trouble. I have a sister that lives in Hong Kong, and with all the upheaval that's happening there, I sometimes worry about her safety. She and her family, I worry about their safety. I have a son who I'm very, very close with, Henry, who lives here in Los Angeles. You know, as he navigates his way through life, I sometimes have a little anxiety because as his dad, I want to protect him and help him, but I know that he has to sort of experience things for himself and have triumphs and failures based on his own merits, and so sometimes I worry about that. But in general, I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
And I also feel good because I ate at Hugo's all those years. So if you took the Hugo's food out of me, I would weigh about 100 pounds. But at 240, I'm feeling good.
Okay, can you tell me about your couch?
Yes, this couch, which is a gorgeous model, is chocolate brown, one of my favorite flavors. And this couch, it looks like a normal couch, but if you think about all of the unbelievable artists that come here every single day, top actors, top musicians, UFC fighters, celebrity chefs, this couch, if it could talk, it's seen a lot of action. The other thing about this couch that's really exciting is my gym is on the campus of a company called Wet Design, and they make the fountains at the Bellagio Hotel and the fountains in the Middle East, and there are tons of scientists and designers and all kinds of amazing people here at Wet. But guess what they don't have?
What?
They don't have a cool couch. So every time the head of Wet is interviewed for television, they come in here and they look at me, and I know that look, and they say, "Can we borrow your couch for just a second?" I think this couch has seen more TV shows than I have.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this couch has been on television a lot of times, and I'm very proud of it. It's
I
comfortable.
feel very honored.
It's great. It's a great couch. I love it.
I didn't know I was going to get that story, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so usually I ask, well, I've only done interviews now. This is my fourth one. And I've interviewed my mom and my dad and two of my oldest friends. And though I've known you a very long time, I don't know that we have like stories to tell of like, you know, inside jokes or anything, but I usually try and get someone to tell me like a funny story. We were saying we've known each other a long time, and you always tell this story about how we met, and I think you should tell it.
Okay. So this is kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
I've always been obsessed with martial arts. I started doing martial arts when I was 10. I'm now 50, so I've done martial arts for 40 years. And when I arrived in Los Angeles, I got involved with a martial arts intensive Japanese jiu-jitsu class that was so intense and so crazy that even with all of my superpowers and martial arts experience, it pushed me to the brink, to the point where I would have to stop about halfway home from the class because I was wildly nauseous. I was overwhelmed physically and emotionally from this intense class. Well, luckily, her dad's place, Highland Grounds, which is no longer there, was located exactly halfway through. And so I would usually park the car and get out and walk around and get my breath so I wasn't nauseous. And then I would go in and have a snack. But sometimes when I would have a snack, I would actually sit at the counter and lay my head on the counter because I was dizzy. And she was a 12-year-old, very plucky, hilarious, precocious waitress there. And she was,
I wasn't a waitress at 12, but
Well,
I would be there.
she was a bar girl. No, I'm just kidding. She was working there.
Sitting at the bar.
Yeah, and she would say like she would say to me, "What is your problem? Like, why are you doing this to yourself? You're in great shape. You have a degree in English. Like, why do you put yourself through this torture all the time?" And she was totally right, which she is now as an adult too.
Always right.
But I didn't have much of an answer because my brain was guacamole from the intense class. But I just remember her having such a refreshing, funny, sweet point of view. And now, as a grown woman, she's terrific too. So
Thank you.
I've known you for a long time.
Very long time, yes. Well, thank you so much for this lovely interview.
Thank you.
I am so excited to do this with you, and maybe we can train, and
Yeah.
I'll be super fit too.
That sounds great. She's the best. Watch all of her interviews.
Thank you. Thanks, and like and subscribe, and couch model.
Ow, ow.
All right, bye.
Ow.